Hey guys, this is Arthur here with Stardust Automotive. Today's video is going to be about doing a DOD AFM delete on the LS series. Whether you have an LH7, LC9, LS1, 2, 3, 6, 7, you know, the whole shebang. They're all basically the same engines, you know, different strokes, couple different variances, but they're basically all the same thing. So basically, what I want to show you is one of the least expensive ways in deleting your DOD. In this situation, this is off of a 2007 Chevy Suburban 1500. It's got the 5.3, but this one's an LC9 engine. It had a AFM system in it that we ended up pulling out because it had a burnt valve. And things just kind of kept getting worse and worse with it, so we're doing a full-on rebuild with it. So most of the DOD delete kits will run you a good chunk of penny. You know, between the valley cover to the lifters and everything else, you know, you could be well over $1,000 on these things. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways of being able to cut some of your costs down and put some more money back in your pocket instead of spending it at vendors. So anyway, basically, this is what the inside of your valley looks like. Your valley tray that goes over top has its solenoids, and I'll go through that on a later video. But when you look on here, it uses these ports, which are the oiling ports. These are what we have to seal up. Now, the valley covers that you spend, you know, $1.25 to $1.30, $1.40 a piece on, basically just has O-rings in the cap, and then you just screw it down, and then they seal around here. I don't particularly care for those because I think that they can be problematic down the line. You know, if something happens to the seals, I'm sure nobody's probably had a problem with it, or maybe a person or two in time, but doing it this way will cut everything completely out, and you will never have to worry about them leaking again. I know that there are some that have the rivet style, where you just put one in there and you pull your rivet gun piece and it'll pop it off in there and it seals it. I don't like those either because I always get concerned if something pops or pressure goes up and it, you know, you've got an open hole here, it can go inside your engine. It's not a good idea. So what I ended up doing is going with a 3/8 inch set screws with a 24 thread pitch, and that's basically how we do it. Now I got mine set so you can see that these are just sunken about a 1/16 of an inch under the flush part of the opening piece here. Excuse me. And as soon as I got my correct depth, I took some tape with the tap inside it, and then just wrapped tape around it so I knew how deep I needed to go. So anyway, you want to make sure before you get into all this that you tape up your oil ports, because nothing will be worse than having these little metal shavings collect. There's a little hole in here, which is your oiling port, and if you get metal shavings in there, that's going to ruin your day. So anyway, make sure you got everything clear and clean. Primarily, you want to do this if you're going to be rebuilding the engine, because obviously, if not, you've got a camshaft that's in the way. You'll have your crankshaft and your rods in the way, and obviously, you can see all the way through it. So all the metal shavings from tapping it out are going to go into the pan. So anyway, basically, what you want to do is get your tap started. Okay, you'll turn this a couple times. This is interesting to do with one hand, by the way. Okay. Do this just to the point where you get some threads on it. I gotta make sure I get this straight here. There we go. Now she's biting. Good. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is, if you watch, see how there's metal shavings going everywhere? It's also going down underneath here too. See all the metal shavings? So that's why I said you basically want to do it this way if you're going to be doing a rebuild. That way you have a chance to blow everything off. But anyway, So we'll go down all the way right till the blue tape just dead ends it. Just as soon as it starts to kiss the top part, right about there. Okay. I'm gonna back this out. Now I know some guys will say, well, while you're tapping it, you gotta use some WD-40. I don't like to do that. I like to do it dry because one, this is aluminum, and number two, when you go to use I use high temp sleeve retainer. It's number 64040, made by Permatex. It's what they use for diesel cups and all that. I find this stuff is incredible when you want to be able to seal something and never have it ever leak again. So I use that on it, and when you end up putting it onto the threads, you want it to be dry. I'm sure you could probably spray some carburetor cleaner or something like that in there. Okay, there we go. There we go. You can see I got nice, beautiful threads. Nice and clean, nice and dry, no issues. And now what I like to do is, whoops, let me go ahead and focus this thing back in. There we go. Hot dog, now we're cooking with the grease fire. All right, let me go ahead and flip this down right here like this. I usually like to take a little piece of like material, like cardboard or something like that. Just get a nice little glob on there, okay? And the reason why you do that, that way you can stick it here in the hole, okay? Because even after you end up getting it on the threads, okay, there we go. There we go. So now I got some that's actually, whoops, I'm gonna focus. There you go. Now that I've actually got some that's inside the threads there, okay, that'll be in just enough of it that as you start to put in the set screw, that it's going to have a little more bite, because as you put the set screw in, what's going to happen is it's going to start forcing it out, and there's going to be less of that thread sealant at the beginning parts of the thread towards the bottom of the bore, as you do with here we go, than you would just dabbing it on here like this. Okay, so you're going to want to put a good chunk on here. Okay, then you're just going to blow it on there, make sure it's nice and even. You know what I mean? See how it's kind of globbed up in there? Okay, that's a good thing. Okay. Come on, see if I can get this thing in focus. There we go. See how it's kind of globbed up there at the bottom? I'll blow on this a little bit. Okay, here we go. Now see how now it's all over the threads? That's why you kind of glob it on there. Now hopefully I can do this with one hand without having it go all over the place. There we go. Okay. Let's see if I can focus this thing in again. Okay. Now we're going to screw this in here. And now mind you, these set screws you can get at Walmart for 68 cents. Okay. Now it's getting just a little bit tight. Once it gets a little tight, you just want to go a few more over. That way you just snug it up in there. Okay. The green thread lock sleeve retainer, oh man, once it's nice in there, dude, that's it. These things will never come out. Wipe it nice and clean. There you go. And now you can see it's all set. It's sunk down about a 1/16 of an inch, and you can see it's completely sealed with the sleeve sealant, and this stuff will never leak again. So do the math. You got 68 times 2, 4, 6, 8. You know, even if you were to do $1 a piece on those things, you got $8 there, as opposed to $130 to $140 plus tax, whatever, for the cover. You know what I mean? Easy peasy. And you can do that to all these and they won't leak. You can modify the bottom of the cover by removing the solenoids on the bottom. I'll go over here and I'll show you the new gaskets. And these gaskets, I mean, you can get these things off of eBay. I got a GM OEM one for $8. So we got 16 bucks in the whole thing, as opposed to between most of these other performance places that are trying to sell you the kits. I mean, you're looking at, you know, almost $200 between the valley cover plate and that OEM GM gasket. You know what I mean? So this will save you a good bit of money. Make sure when you take your block in, you have the machine shop put in new cam bearings. It's worth spending the extra 40 bucks on those, and I think it was $45 to have the machine shop install it to get nice ones in there. So I hope this helps you guys out. I'll go ahead and do another video here shortly on the progression of it, of installing your LS7 lifters and the LS2 trays. The trays from an LS2 are going to be much, much better because they're thicker and heavier duty. And the LS7 lifters, I mean, most guys, when they, you know, the guys that have Corvettes and the Camaros and all the other cars that have the LS7s, they always change cams. And most times when you go to a very heavy cam, some guys are going to Johnson lifters or, you know, something a little heavier duty. So they'll pull out their stock LS7s and they'll sell these things for, you know, 20 or 30 bucks for a whole set. There's no need you have to spend $200 on, you know, 16 lifters online. Also steer clear of the aftermarket ones because they are made differently. They're made with inferior metals, and so they wear out a lot easier. Some of the metal is thinner, and they're just very, very problematic. You know, out of 100 lifters, you know, you might have 10 or 20 that aren't working right from it, so it's not worth it. And once you put your heads on, if you have a problem with the lifter, you got to pull everything back off. So just find somebody who's got a good used one that came out of a Corvette or a Camaro, and you'll be okay. So that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go ahead, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, share this stuff out, because the more shares and likes I get, the more that I can go ahead and post up for you guys. If anybody wants me to go ahead and take care of their blocks or do a DOD delete, or you got a build to do, our phone number is 410-596-8985. We're Stardust Automotive out here in Jacksonville, North Carolina. God bless you guys. Have a good day. And remember the shop that's got a lifetime warranty with all our other labor. That's Stardust Automotive. God bless, and see you guys in the next video.